At the foot of the jet bridge leading up to Flight 882 bound for London Heathrow, and shimmering in the late afternoon, sun stood a woman who exuded quiet professionalism. Her dark brown skin glowed under the terminal lights, and her navy blue pantsuit clung with tailored precision. She balanced on the tips of her modest heels, adjusting the strap on her briefcase as the boarding agent checked final passengers. To most, she appeared simply as another traveler winding down a long day. But in that split moment before stepping onto the aircraft, everything changed. "Ma'am, stop right there," a voice boomed behind her, cutting clean through the gentle hum of departure announcements and murmured goodbyes. The words cracked like a gunshot. She turned, startled. Two airport police officers stormed forward, cutting through the boarding queue. One was tall, red-faced, and broad-shouldered, with a wiry mustache and rigid posture. The other, leaner and shorter, had a predator's stare and fingers already twitching near his belt. The tall one officer, Blake, Ramsey pointed directly at her. "You." Hands where I can see them. Her eyebrows furrowed, confusion blooming into disbelief. "Excuse me, officer. What's going on?" But the other one officer, Sean Griggs, spoke over her. "Hands up. Now," he barked, hand already gripping the cold steel of his cuffs. A beat passed, just long enough for the other passengers to stop boarding. Just long enough for every eye in the jet bridge to land squarely on her. "Terrorism suspicion," Ramsey declared, loud enough for half the terminal to hear. "Don't resist, ma'am. Step away from the gate." Her mouth parted in shock. "Terrorism? I'm on a business trip." "You can explain that downtown," Griggs snapped. "Turn around." The cuffs clamped with an audible click, the sound so final it seemed to seal the air in the hallway. Passengers whispered behind cupped hands. Children stared. A man with a British accent muttered, "Bloody hell." Stumbling backward in heels, she was flanked and marched against the flow of boarding passengers. Her name, Camille Worthington, was not yet known to the crowd, but the image of a handcuffed black woman being dragged from a boarding gate would imprint itself on many of their memories. Each step echoed with shame. As they pulled her through Gate F's terminal, whispers swelled like wildfire. What did she do? Was she dangerous? A threat? Some stared in concern. Others didn't bother hiding their suspicion. "Why are you doing this?" Camille asked again, her voice low but firm. "I have a right to know." Ramsey leaned in close. "You'll know what we want you to know. Keep walking," Griggs added under his breath. "People like you always have something to hide." The words landed like a slap. Inside, Camille's heartbeat roared in her ears, but her expression remained steady. Her spine refused to buckle under the weight of humiliation. Every stare felt like a knife, every step away from the boarding gate like 1,000 miles further from dignity. They led her through several restricted corridors until they reached a gray steel door at the far end of a lesser-known service wing. Ramsey pushed it open, shoved her inside. The room was barely larger than a supply closet 10 feet wide. Concrete floors, one plastic table, and two mismatched chairs. The overhead light buzzed faintly. The atmosphere was sterile. Cold. They closed the door, locked it. Then came the silence. Ramsey dropped into the chair opposite her, boots thudding on the metal frame. "Let's start simple. Identification. Now." Still cuffed, Camille took a steady breath and carefully unzipped her leather bag. She pulled out her U.S. passport and Georgia state driver's license with calculated precision. Ramsey snatched them, glanced briefly, and chuckled. Camille Worthington, age 32. He handed them to Griggs with a shrug. "Ring a bell?" Griggs squinted. Not a damn one. They didn't know. They had no clue who they had just cuffed and dragged away in front of hundreds of witnesses. "So," Ramsey continued, "why don't you tell us why a woman like you's flying to London? Alone, with all these fancy papers in your briefcase?" Camille replied calmly, "I'm attending an international legal conference. I'm a keynote speaker. It's in my documentation, and it's in my flight records." Griggs laughed dryly. "Sounds like a decent cover. I'd like to speak to an attorney," Camille stated. Ramsey rolled his eyes. "You'll get one when the time comes. Until then, you sit tight and answer questions." Camille's expression didn't change, but inside, a storm had begun to churn. She now saw what this was: not a real investigation, not a legitimate mistake. This was something darker, something laced with bias and assumption. And it was about to get worse. Ramsey leaned in. Now here's what we can do. There's been a flag on your profile, probably a glitch. It happens, but we can make it go away. He smiled. Griggs added, yeah, no need to elevate things. No need to go to HQ. We clean this up for you. Quietly, Camille stared at them. Ramsey grinned wider. $5,000. Cash. Now. Just a little administrative expedite, Griggs said. You pay, we delete the alert, and you catch the next flight. Camille said nothing. Not because she was afraid, but because she was memorizing. Every word, every face, every badge number. Officer Ramsey badge 2183. Officer Griggs badge 5079. The room. The time. April 15th, 3:42 p.m. Time's ticking, Miss Worthington, Griggs pressed. You want to be stuck in a Homeland Security file for years. Camille slowly raised her head. I want her full names and badge numbers again, just to make sure I get them right. Ramsey smirked. Why? Filing a Yelp review. Camille's voice was low, steady. Just say it. Ramsey scoffed. Officer Blake Ramsey. Badge 2183. Griggs followed Sean Griggs. 5,079. Thank you, Camille replied. Then she stood. Still cuffed, still perfectly poised. My name is Camille Helena Worthington, she said. I am a federal prosecutor with the United States Department of Justice, assigned to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Georgia. She pulled a badge from her coat. A real one. The gold seal of the DOJ shimmered in the fluorescent light. I have federal jurisdiction over crimes committed on U.S. soil, including this airport, including this room, including you. Time froze. Ramsey turned pale. Griggs staggered. Camille's voice cut like a scalpel. Right now, you are both guilty of unlawful detention, false arrest, abuse of power, and attempted extortion under color of law. She turned toward her bag. You will remain seated. Do not touch your radios. Do not reach for your weapons. Do not even blink out of line. She retrieved her phone, dialed. First to her supervisor at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Second to the FBI field agent in charge of airport affairs. Third to the airport's director of law enforcement operations. 10 minutes later, the door slammed open. Captain James Everly, a senior airport police official, entered flanked by agents in suits and 2 FBI officers. Ramsey and Griggs sat frozen, pale, uniforms soaked with sweat. MS. Worthington, Captain Everly said respectfully, we apologize. This ends now. He gestured. 2 officers stepped forward. Ramsey, Griggs, surrender your weapons, radios, and IDs. They obeyed silently. Everly continued. Effective immediately, both of you are suspended pending full federal investigation. Ramsey stammered. It was a misunderstanding. Camille didn't flinch. This was deliberate. You thought I was just another woman to humiliate. Now you'll answer for it. Griggs whispered, please. But it was too late. They were let out in shame, watched by the same law enforcement structure they had once used as armor. Camille gave her full statement to Internal Affairs and the FBI. Surveillance footage confirmed everything: her calm behavior, the aggressive arrest, and their removal of her without cause. The hallway cameras showed their smug expressions as they dragged her. Witnesses from the gate corroborated her version. And though no cameras were in the room itself, Camille's phone captured audio the moment she pulled it from her bag. It was enough. Enough to press charges. Within 2 weeks, both officers were indicted on federal charges: abuse of power, extortion, deprivation of civil rights, and conspiracy. The trial was swift. Camille testified under oath. The jury returned guilty verdicts on all counts. Each man received 7 years in federal prison. Justice had spoken. Camille, meanwhile, returned to her role with a deeper fire in her spirit. Her story inspired reforms across multiple agencies. The airport implemented bias training. Anonymous misconduct reporting was strengthened. Federal oversight of airport law enforcement increased. She declined interviews. She didn't want to be famous. She wanted to do her job. But quietly, behind closed doors, she became a legend, proof that courage and knowledge could dismantle even the most arrogant abuse of authority. And as for Officers Ramsey and Griggs, they faded into infamy, a cautionary tale for every badge that followed. Because no one, no matter the uniform, stands above the law. Not anymore.